Hey, it is that time. Coming up this week, are the Jedi horrible guardians? Why Hondo Ohnaka is the best example of the character you love to hate. Our top 5 favorite Star Wars ships and lots of younglings. Good thing Anakin isn't around for this, huh? Too soon? No? I don't know. All right. All that and more coming up this week. It's the Clone Wars Season 5, Episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12. No, that's not right. I know that's not right. It's, what is it, Krash? I forgot.
It is.
It's
6 through 9.
6 through 9. I have 29, 7, 8, and 9. That's what's on my notes. We're already off to a great start. So we're doing
it bodes well.
6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. All that and more right here on your Star Wars safe space. Stick around. Let's see if this works. There we go. We can get rid of that now. Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. Oh, we're already off to a great start, huh, Krash?
It wouldn't be us if it was. Yeah, no other way.
It wouldn't be us if there weren't our good friend technical difficulties hanging out with us. All right. So, hey there, Star Warriors. What? Huh? What?
How we doing? Same as always. That bad, huh?
That bad, huh? Yeah. God, we need to add that to the intro.
We really should.
We really do. That is a great quote from Han Solo. Anyway, hi there, Star Warriors. Welcome to Star Wars Safe Space, your non-toxic low-sodium Star Wars show that doesn't make you feel bad for not knowing that Jedi Master Plo Koon discovered little baby Ahsoka and brought her into the Jedi Order. And we saw that this week. We saw Plo and little tiny cute little baby Ahsoka. Adorbs, totes adorbs. So whether you're a hardcore fan or just a little swarzy curious, this is your Star Wars safe space. We are the Circle of Nerds, and we do indeed love Star Wars, even if we don't always like it. This week, though, I think we liked everything. So let's meet the crew, shall we? So, pilot of the infamous Parma Flyer. Can I do the right button here? Nope, I sure can't. It's Krash. This is why we're a podcast and why we have no business doing video.
Hi, everybody. S-Foil's locked, ready to go. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
There you go. It's just us. It's just us. Everybody else is out this week. Good thing nobody gets paid, or we wouldn't, I guess. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm like, there we go.
Well, right, we do have some news. We could kind of get started off with that. I'm sure you've heard Clive Revell, the original Emperor Palpatine voice actor, sadly passed away at 94 years old.
Yes.
Most of you people out there may not even know of him because he was from the original theatrical cut. And then by the time George did the special editions, Ian re-recorded his lines and facial. And, they've tweaked that scene so many times that unless you have the original unspecialized version,
like VHS,
it's hard to tell. But, the diehard, original trilogy fans know him as the first voice of Palpatine. And also, I believe, the voice of Alfred from Batman the Animated Series.
Really?
So Batman and Alfred are back together.
Okay. That's sad, but that's cool.
Yeah, we're getting to that point where that generation of actors, you're going to be hearing probably a lot of original trilogy people that we know of are reaching that age. And it's sad, but, like Luke says, nobody's really gone.
At this point in our lives, I heard this somewhere. I can't remember what movie it was, but they said that at this stage of our lives, the world is taking more than it's giving these days. So, and
that's true.
That is true, especially with our fandom, but very true. So what are we doing here? What's the purpose of this show? Well, our mission is to watch all of the canon Star Wars films and TV shows in chronological order, breaking them down, connecting the dots, and learning more about Star Wars and maybe even a little bit about ourselves. So we've already jumped into news a little bit. Probably what the biggest bit of news right now, Andor season 2.
Oh, that looks so good. They keep putting out new teasers and trailers, and I keep getting pumped because it looks so good. And we're getting that. I like when various Star Wars properties intersect each other, like, Rebels sort of lead it into Rogue One, leading into the original trilogy. Yeah, I like this time period because the timelines are starting to cross a little bit. It's great.
Yes. It's oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. It's T to the Oni.
Hey, everybody.
Coming in live. What's happening?
Not too much. I apologize. My fireball kept breaking down, and I was late getting here. So
that's okay, brother.
Yeah, you said you weren't even going to be on tonight.
Well, I got lucky and ended up getting somebody to help cover. So it's quiet. I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to drop in the back for a bit. So.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome, T to the Oni, hailing from parts unknown, keeper of the holocron. All right, so Tony, I don't know if you heard what was going on. We're going to do our normal recap about the episodes, but we're also going to be talking about the Jedi being horrible parental units. We've talked about that before, but this was reiterated this week. Why Hondo is the perfect example of a character that we love to hate. And then our top 5 favorite ships.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So just to get us started off, this was, we've said the last couple of weeks, Star Wars Clone Wars isn't really for kids. I mean, it gets pretty dark sometimes, except for this week. This was just nothing but kids. It was all for the kids. Glad Anakin didn't show up because that could have been awkward for everyone. But what's this? Hey, we've got someone. TMDE Sports. What's cracking? I think that's the Mr. Deacon Experience Sports Podcast. Mr. Deacon, of course, if you've listened to some of our other podcasts, he is the most well-dressed nerd in the galaxy, like bar none. He's one of the good ones. Welcome to the chat, Mr. Deacon. So maybe he'll have some insight. So the thing about Mr. Deacon, if you haven't listened to any of his stuff, go check him. If you're a sports person, go check out his stuff. Really good. Mr. Deacon is one of those that does not hold back his opinion at all. His number one catchphrase is "it's trash." Like that's it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I say something and he likes it. Nah, Tommy, that's trash. It doesn't matter. Every single time. It doesn't matter. Like, hey man, the sky is blue. The sky is trash. Unless it's something that he likes, then it's amazing. But that's why we love Mr. Deacon. So anyway, so recapping the episodes this week, we're talking about all these Jedi kids. Obviously it was a growth episode. Each kid had their own little idiosyncrasy that they had to overcome in some way. Very formulaic. We kind of saw it coming. But we did get to revisit Ilum, which was kind of fun. The last time we saw Ilum was in the micro series, and we got to see Snow Bunny Padme in that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was where that costume debuted.
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did. It was good stuff. So this arc here, what are your thoughts on this? So that we'll dive a little bit deeper, but I'd like to go around the room, get thoughts on this. We don't need to do a whole full recap necessarily, but let's get your thoughts. Krash, you said you had some notes.
Oh yeah.
He was like, I got notes today. We got
notes today. I love this arc, and I love each episode for different reasons. I'll start off with the gathering. As someone who I've always grown up a fan of Jedi. I cosplayed as a Jedi. For me, this was like a great, again, the show's getting progressively more mature in its tone, but this was a great reiteration of a morality lesson for kids. And the building of your lightsaber, anybody who's ever played a Jedi as a kid or whatever, that moment where you get your lightsaber is just, it's like a really spiritual thing. It's deeply personal, and each kid, the thing I liked most was each kid had an idiosyncrasy that they had to overcome in the it's a trial. It's for them.
I don't want to cut you off, but Mr. Deacon posted in the chat, Skeleton Crew is trash too. Oh man, we need to talk. We need to talk because the Skeleton Crew is by far at this point probably one of the greatest Star Wars TV shows in existence. But we'll get to that. Man, Mr. Deacon, you should just come on the show. We could talk about that all day. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Oh, yeah. So, like, real quick, I'll explain something. And I've got some slides I can even show. Disney at Galaxy's Edge does a great thing called Savvy's Workshop, where you can build.
They make that experience for you, that whole lightsaber building experience, right?
I've done it. I'm a grown man, and I will tell you, this thing right here is my favorite Star Wars collectible, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
When we went there, this was 2021. I went down with my family. Long story short, that morning my dad had a medical emergency. You're at Disney, and I walk out of the elevator, and there's my dad on a gurney being taken to the hospital. So I was ready to drop everything, and he knew we had the appointment to go to Savvy's and build lightsabers. He said, no, he ordered us to go. My sister and I, he said, you guys, I'll be fine. You guys go and do your thing. And I don't know if you can call up the picture.
Yeah. Which one? Which one you look at?
The first one, Savvy one. They're in order. So you get there, and they make out the cast members are great. They do this big interactive thing. You pick out the type of lightsaber you want to build, and they come up at you with a container with various crystals, kyber crystals. There's just little pieces of plastic.
And that's the crystal.
That's my crystal. I've got it here. I'll show you in a second. If you go to the next slide, you're building your lightsaber. You pick out your parts, and I mean, they're talking to you about how the kyber crystal, it connects to the blade, the force. It's all one big thing. And in the meantime, I am freaking out. I am like these kids in this episode. I had to overcome the fear that I might lose my dad today. And I'm sitting there and I'm building this lightsaber and I'm thinking of him, and he came out fine. We got him home and we got him taken care of. But this was a very big day in my life, because I remember the day I overcame my fear, built my lightsaber. That's why this thing is my favorite Star Wars. This is better than my costumes and all that stuff, because for me, this was the day I felt like a Jedi. I overcame my fear that day.
So, and that's it. And Mr. Deacon said he bought his Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber there. So
yeah.
So Savvy's Workshop, it sounds like it is a very personal, unique experience. Obviously, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you go in there like, we're just going to build a lightsaber, whatever. Yeah. But if you kind of go into it, maybe role play a little bit, kind of enjoy it, it's an experience. I've never been.
Yeah, I know you haven't been down there, and I really want, I hope you go someday, and force willing, I'll be there with you, because it is such an experience. These things aren't cheap. These lightsabers are on the price. It's like a couple $100. These aren't just like off your toy store shelf level.
I'm sorry. You said how much?
I think it's like $200.
That's a hard pass. I'll go to Home Depot. I'll go to the plumbing department, and I got you.
But
I got you.
Here's the thing. But it's more the experience. You go in there and it's like dinner theater. The characters. Okay. You're here. They have record voices from Jedi like Yoda, and they get real into like the mystical side of the Force. I mean, and Disney's great about immersion. And like you said, if you accept the immersion and you play along with it, as a fan, I've never had a more moving experience than I did that day at Savvy's.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Deacon said he paid $150 for his. I think that's reasonable for a replica.
Yeah, I mean, you could go. Some of the custom ones you get online. I mean, even that Theory guy has his own brand of lightsabers. Those things are damn expensive.
Yeah,
$200, for a saber, and the experience and that you take home with you. It was so worth it. And I even say, if you're gonna do it with your kids, have
money. Your kids have money.
Disney ain't cheap, but I mean, the thing is, if you're gonna let your kid build a $200 lightsaber, make sure they're mature enough and that they can appreciate the experience. It's not just going in, because they have a cheaper version you could do at Star Tours, with plastic parts and whatnot.
Yep, that's the kid version.
That's the kid version, and I recommend that more for younger kids. But if your kids really at the age where they really appreciate the story, and especially like an episode like this one from Clone Wars, where like they see themselves in like a Gunji or Tanuti or somebody like that, it's almost worth it if you do it together, because they will let you bring a parent, goes with the kid, and they, you can have somebody there with you.
So Krash, let me ask you a question. You said
Yeah.
that if the child is, old enough, or at what age do you feel that a child is old enough to pay $200 to $300 to have them build a lightsaber? I'm going to say 30. So what is your age range there?
The savvy ones, like I said, that's a good question. Yeah.
And how much do you have to really, really like your child to spend, like, that's a car payment?
I want at least a couple months of like cutting the grass without having to be told, that kind of thing.
A couple months. No, that's it. That's the rest of your life.
Yeah,
until you're cutting my grass until I can't cut my grass.
That's a major. Like I said, we all know Disney trips aren't cheap, but I mean, if you're gonna go for the experience,
and that's just it. I've researched all that. And for all of our listener, you can't see what we're putting up on the screen, but it's Krash holding his lightsaber that he made, and then you've got the Falcon in the background. Ever since Galaxies opened, I have been researching it. I've been looking at every photo. And I told Sherry, I told her, I was like, look, we're gonna have to go for like 3 days. One day, day one, you just leave me alone. You take the kids, or if you're gonna meet your girlfriend there or whatever, you go do whatever you want to do. Because on day one, I'm walking around looking at every single minute detail and paint chip and everything. Because I mean, looking at the Falcon now, it looks so detailed. Like it is like that's as real as it gets. I mean, it looks like the thing is going to fly away.
We had to, COVID was a real thing. We had to put off our trip for a while because of the lockdown. The parks closed. And like I said, 2020, you see me, I'm still wearing a mask because I was very cautious of that, because I live with my parents. They're a little older. I want to make sure I didn't bring anything home.
Of course.
But, I tell you, man, the first time I rounded we reconned this place. We watched every video, every blog. We knew this place before we got there inside and out. And it was like, you round that first corner and you start to see the bits of the Falcon coming around the horizon, and the feels right here just hit you.
I'm crying. I don't care. You know what? And I already know Mr. Deacon's watching right now. I already know what he's going to say. I don't care. I am secure in my manhood when I see the Millennium Falcon. It's not even my favorite ship. When I see the Millennium Falcon in real life, I'm going to cry. I'm going to fucking cry. There is no doubt about it. I'm going to cry like a baby. I'm going to cry like a baby seeing this beautiful work of art right there, and then walking around. I have a bounding outfit. I've got like I'm on subreddits talking about like different clothing to wear. I specifically had an outfit custom tailor made for this, and I still haven't been yet. And it's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
I really wish the Star Cruiser Hotel, they call it a Star Wars hotel. It was an experience. It was,
I saw that too,
theater thing. It was great because they let you in through the back door. It was connected to Galaxy's Edge. You go in through a special entrance in casual cosplay. People can wear most whatever they want.
What? Mr. Deacon said he cried too. What?
Yeah, totally. And like my first day with Snips,
Deacon, you're a sissy. You're such a sissy. I was making that up. I'm not gonna cry over a fake spaceship from a movie.
Hey, you're gonna get us canceled using that word. Come on now.
Yeah.
No, I'll cry. I'm just messing around. I'll cry my face off. I already know.
I mean, we could talk about the Star Cruiser, at another time in depth, but just you were encouraged to dress up and play along, and you went into the park, that part of the park, in semi costume, in character.
Sure.
My pictures, I've been posting a few of them on the Swarzy Curious page for Crash's Corner. That's me in my casual cosplay, Jedi boots, vest. I was like a casual Bespin Luke look, walking around Batuu, and it was just such fun to play, just walking around like a space tourist. I wouldn't even dream of going over to Toy Story or any other part of the park dressed like this.
Right, but you're there. Like, I have absolutely zero interest in anything else at Disney. Like none, like no interest. I don't care. I literally don't care. Drop me off at Galaxy's Edge. Leave me. Just leave me there. I'll find my way home. I'll figure out food and beverages. I'm good.
Oh, there's nothing like the smell of a Ronto wrap in the morning.
Oh man. All right. Now you're killing me. All right. So anyway, back to the show.
Yeah. Back to the show.
So the kids, they're doing the stuff. They're growing. They're learning about the things. They're making their lightsabers. And that's going to bring us to Hondo. Let's talk about Hondo now, shall we?
Okay.
So I love Hondo. Hondo is my favorite scoundrel. He's my favorite pirate. He's, Mr. Deacon says it brings back so many memories of my childhood. Yeah. I mean, we grew up watching this stuff, and then to see it live right there. Yeah. Krash, like you said, the feels. I mean, you're going to get all the feels. So Hondo initially, later on in this arc, he said that, he doesn't like to take kids into battle. Yet he straight up instructed his pirates to kill anyone that gets in the way. So Hondo was going to sauce these kids, or have them sauce. He might not have done it by his own hand, but like he said, I smell profit. If anything gets in the way of that profit, he's taking it out. Would he, and I want to know from you guys, would he have actually had those kids taken out? What do you think?
I don't think he would have. You watch that and like at first you think, like that is really messed up, but they made a point to to try and gas everybody out. Like I think that he suspected that Ahsoka was going to be the one there with the kids, and knows that their relationship that he's got with Anakin, with Obi-Wan, would play into it, and he'd just be like, listen, just give me the things. It doesn't have to be a big deal, and I'm not going to hurt anybody. Just give me what I want, and I'll go.
Right. Mr. Deacon here says that Hondo opens up the ride at Disney. I've seen that. He's like an animatronic, right?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tony, I want to agree with you. I really do. It's like, because he's a softie. He is. I mean, he could have sauced our intrepid crew many times over. He could have taken out the Jedi many times over, but he hasn't. He even says he likes Obi-Wan. So I want to believe you, but he's still a cold-blooded killer and a pirate. So I don't know. Krash, what do you think? Would he sauce children?
I watched these episodes. I've seen this arc before, but I watched it this time, and my mind kept drifting back to Skeleton Crew, Hondo versus Silvo.
Yeah,
because he straight up drew a blade on these. He shot at Fern's head.
He did,
and he'll find a way to justify it. Hondo is, he's got a great line where and he always said at one point he says, "My mood is based on profit." I mean, that's it. Last week he was moving rocket launchers to in the Resistance.
Right.
He's paid well enough. This week he intentionally attacks a Jedi cruiser because he wants kyber crystals, and times were lean, so he's like, okay, I'm your friend today, but but my profit's down, so I got to do what I got to do.
Right. Radio Beach said that she would work for Hondo,
and I agree. Sure. I would work for Hondo too. He's just a great guy. For as sleazy as he can be sometimes, you just gotta love him.
So and he attacked children. He, in my opinion, I think he would have been willing to take them out. He faced off against Ahsoka, was willing to have her taken out. And at the end of this arc, he saves the day.
He's Uncle Hondo again.
He's Uncle Hondo. He has a connection with one of them, but then he bills the Republic. He tells Obi-Wan, "I'll send you an invoice. I'll send you my bill." Radio Bitch says, "I think if the money was right, he would sauce the children." Like, I don't think he's a hired assassin, but I don't think if someone paid him to sauce
disagree.
them.
I think Go ahead.
If he had to get through them to get to the money, like if the only way was to like sauce these kids and get the treasure, I think he would. I don't think he would be like a gun for hire sort of situation, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with Radio Beach there.
I don't think so, just because, like, remember when young Boba Fett came and he was like, tell them where the hostages are. He has lines he won't, he has lines he won't cross. Maybe not if the money gets to a certain point, they'll get murky, but there's certain things I don't think he would do even for money.
I don't know. I don't know. And that's another reason why I think we love to hate Hondo, because you just don't know. Like there's other sketchy characters out there. At one point, Boba Fett was kind of a sketchy character. Would he have killed kids? No, I don't think he would. I think he doesn't have that level of moral ambiguity. Radio B says, hey, fuel is expensive. That's not bad. I mean, that's not wrong. And he's flying around that flying saucer, which was great. We're going to talk about ships here in a minute, but I don't know. Like Cad Bane, would Cad Bane kill children?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Cad with no questions asked.
Yeah, no questions about. I mean,
and it's like you said at the end with Canudi. He even says, "I don't." He's uncomfortable with the idea of taking children into battle.
Right.
So, as like you were talking, are the Jedi the worst guardians of these young? Yes, Ahsoka was with them, but you would think for such an important mission they would send more than just a Padawan, which kind of shows the level Ahsoka has risen to, where now she's being trusted with a fairly moderate level of teaching. She's a Padawan, and now she's literally like the grad student teacher who's like helping the younger classes.
Or the Jedi just don't care about children because they are horrible caregivers. I'm convinced there is no galactic child protective service agency, or if it is, it's just woefully understaffed or underfunded, because Ahsoka's capable. We know that she is more than, she goes toe to toe with Grievous all the time. I think this is like her third or fourth time going toe to toe with Grievous, and she went up against him young. I think like in season 1 or 2.
Season 1, it was Battle of the Droids.
Yeah, she was like, there's this 4-armed lightsaber wielding freak. Don't worry, I got this. It's like, you're 12. Dial it back, Ahsoka. But she tamed a giant saber-toothed tiger. She saved her village from being eaten. She's on a different level, I think, than most children or even younglings her age. I think she's a little more advanced. But again, it's like, we're going to send you into these death caves so you can get your crystals without any adult supervision whatsoever.
Yoda was there. I mean, and he sort of left it to their interpretation that the ice wall meant they were stuck there for a rotation, which everything's 24 hours like the Earth. Well, it could be 19 days, or you're Jedi. Break the damn ice with the Force.
Sure. So
there's a great line in this thing. There was another one I liked where he tells together and only together. I think that is a lesson in this episode for kids, that you can do more when you work together with your friends, your classmates, your teammates in sports than you can alone. The one kid, Petro, was so self-sure of himself. He was first out with a crystal, which wasn't the right crystal. He just grabbed the first thing he saw and ran out because he wanted to be first. He was the first one to rush to get his saber together and blew up on him.
Of course.
And there's always that one kid that just turns in his first draft of the paper and just say, "Look, I got it done." Well, you did it wrong. Doesn't matter.
Right. And you've always got those, and it's, you're seeing some archetypes throughout this, and I think it's relatable for kids, to see other kids going through the same things. But like the ice wall, I agree with you 100%. Petro rolled through it. I mean, he smashed through it just fine. They could have used their lightsabers to get through, any number of reasons. That's not my issue. My issue is the giant cliffs that they could have easily fallen off of to their deaths. Right? I mean,
Right.
what's Yoda going to do? Yoda's on the other side of the temple, hanging out, smoking whatever peyote is in this place, because clearly something was messing with their minds. There is some kind of Jedi hallucinogenic being pumped into the caves at Ilum. And what does Sherry said? Yoda did say at the very end, before they left the cave, that they wouldn't be able to just break it because of ice. True. Very true. I think he might have said that just to like get in their heads a little bit. But again, it's not even the ice. It's the gigantic drops that Petro almost fell. What was the other girl's name that had to climb up? I can't remember her name. Canudi. Yeah, that's the one that Hondo connected with.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she could have fallen to her death, plummeted to her death. And again, where was Ahsoka? Where was Yoda? Where was the adult supervision while these children are risking their lives for the Jedi? Again, once again, they are horrible. And if anything, I think that the Senate should do something about it in terms of removing their access to children. It's out of control.
Well, I mean, the problem with that is that we know exactly what the Emperor thinks is the best way to deal with children. So,
I mean, that's sure, but I mean, even we've seen Palpatine was better with the children than the Jedi. At least they had nanny bot supervision at all times. When those babies were in danger, who put the babies in danger to begin with? The Jedi. They're the ones that turned off the shields for this Sith nursery. I'm just saying those kids were perfectly safe until the Jedi show up and
perfectly safe. Yeah, perfectly safe in like a maniac's death chamber. But they were safe.
He would have. He did fine with Maul. He didn't raise him from an infant, but he did all right bringing Maul up. It's okay. No, I think look at Mr. Deacon says hater. No, I think that the Jedi are wrong. I would rather my child be watched by Palpatine's nanny bots than to have them watched by the Jedi. We've even seen this in Young Jedi Adventures. Oh yeah, go ahead and take this starship with a complete stranger who is also a child and just go ahead and jump to light speed. It's fine. Oh, and we're going to have you do this trial and you have to get this seed that's on this 85-foot cliff up here. It's fine. You'll just use the Force. You'll be good. No, absolutely not.
I don't want to get too far ahead, but there's a moment in Rebels where we see another Jedi temple. I wonder if these places have sort of built-in contingencies. Like Ezra failed a test. He fell down a chasm, and then he ends up a soft landing in a different room. I wonder, the Canudi and the climbing the ice wall to go after your crystal. Is that a projection? Is that more of like a holodeck kind of? Is that a? I want to say, I don't know his name, but the Ithorian one was afraid of the shit. Like the shadow, like in your bedroom that looks like a monster. Mm-hmm. That was a great one where I thought he was like, okay.
But as soon as he grabbed his crystal,
it's all in his mind. It's just it's all in your head, literally.
That's a good point. And the fact that Yoda knew exactly what each of their trials were going to be, even if he didn't exactly say it in those words, like it makes sense that it could be just a setup.
It could be a setup. It could be a holodeck sort of situation. It could be a force projection. I mean, we've seen that force projections are very powerful. We saw Luke do one across space. Radio Beach says maybe it's just natural selection. If the kids don't make it, they don't deserve to be Jedi. I love that.
Well, look at Luke.
Mr. Deacon says Tommy D has always been a Jedi hater. You're biased. Hey, the facts speak for themselves, Mr. Deacon. The facts speak for themselves.
Well, it wasn't even like, look at Luke in Empire Strikes Back. That wasn't really Vader in the cave, but it was a manifestation of his fear.
And who was also there at that time?
Yeah.
Yoda.
Yoda.
Yoda putting out the Jedi peyote. Again, harming children, putting children in harm's way Yoda everybody thinks Yoda's this cool, cute little guy. No, absolutely. Child neglect, child endangerment charges all day, every day. I can't with Yoda.
Before we get off this, as tough topic as we are already.
You said Tommy D is a Sith Lord with a beard. Come on. Come on.
Can we talk about the second episode and David Tennant as Professor Huyang?
Yeah, that was cool.
That was great casting. Everybody knows him from Doctor Who, and there's just that vibe of Doctor Who that sort of creeps in when you hear his voice. But just the idea that there's somebody, and we saw him later in Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's a history to these things, and it's interesting to finally meet the person who teaches these Jedi how to build a lightsaber and has a memory of
thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like Ollivander. I mean, he was very much
it's literally Ollivander. Yeah.
From Harry Potter. And it was cool because while Sherry and I were watching this, she had that moment of recognition because she had never seen him before because she had watched Ahsoka already. Mm-hmm. So seeing him there, and then now again, that's a dot connected in the Clone Wars. So now when we rewatch Ahsoka and she watches Ahsoka again, now you've got a little more connection.
And let's not forget, Ahsoka and Huyang were on this mission together during the Clone Wars. They've known each other for years, probably
a long time. I love that he said that he still remembers Master Yoda building his lightsaber.
Yeah, we think of Yoda as this unthinkable old thing, and it's like, oh, Huyang's older.
Oh yeah.
Which, for the record, considering how many junk droids we see in the universe, how good was the building that put Huyang together? That he's still going this much long. Yeah,
and that even after having his head and arms cut off, like in Ahsoka, he's still like 90 or 80% original parts.
I mean,
give me that craftsmanship, man.
They don't make them like that anymore. That is for sure. All right, so great episodes. Krash, do you still have some more notes? I feel like you've got more notes.
Where do you want? Okay, let's talk about your necessary bond. The last episode, Hondo, for as much as Hondo likes to flip the script,
Sith Lords together. That's a radio beach station. We'll be Sith Lords together. There you go.
For as much as Hondo likes to flip the script with the Jedi, I'm with you, I'm against you, I betray. Let's not forget, Dooku still holds a grudge for Hondo holding him hostage for like a day.
And he totally played it off too. And Hondo's just like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, whereas like the Jedi, Obi-Wan, is annoyed by Hondo, but they'll deal with him. They'll use him when they need him. And even like in this arc, where you attack one of our ships, but you help us out the best. So we're like, they could have arrested him.
They could have on the spot. They could have arrested. They should have arrested him, but
you helped us out, so we'll let you go with a warning. I find it interesting that like with the Separatists, there's no loyalty to there's nothing but payback, there's nothing but vendetta, and it was
because it's all absolutes. It's all absolute.
And even among his Hondo's men, the ones that joined, it's just that thing where Hondo has a way of he may betray you, but you just can't hate him. You just can't. I can't break away from you, man.
You can't. Hondo is the best Star Wars character that you love to hate, because like you cannot. He's so charming, and it's like that he's going to stab you in the back. This, but you're just like, but you know what? He'll make me laugh, or he'll get me something pretty afterwards, or he's just that guy. But
he's that vendor at the con that is overcharging, but he always has the good stuff. And
he always has the good stuff. Back to him. And he's so nice. Well, we go to this spot in Cleveland called the West Side Market, and Krash, I'm sure you're familiar with.
Oh
it.
Yeah.
So there's a particular produce vendor that we go to, very nice Egyptian woman, and we started going to her because she was so complimentary. She's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. Your wife is so pretty. You're so handsome. You're a beautiful couple." She has this great accent. It's not that. I can't do an Egyptian accent, but she's so nice. She's so flattering. She's so complimentary. We give her the money. She always gives us extra produce, whatever. And then we get it home, and 9 times out of 10, the extra stuff that she's given us is like in a state of half rot. So it's like she's
I
so
think I
nice.
know the booth.
Yeah, like all the way on the end. She's very nice. She's very nice. And the produce that we actually purchase is great. I mean, it's always fresh. It's good. It's good produce. But then once we get into the bottom of the bag there and the stuff that she had thrown in to get rid of it, I guess, oh, here, take some more to free strawberries. And you open the strawberries up and they're all like black and moldy. There's like 3 or 4 strawberries you can pull out. She's like Hondo. It's like, and I keep going back to her. I keep going back to her for the good produce because she's so nice. But she stabs me in the back when she gives me her rotten fruit that she doesn't want to throw away. So she kind of like, she doesn't charge me for it, but I'm still paying for it because she's like, no, take 3 for $5 and do this and that. And it's like, by the time I'm done, I went in there for like green beans and a mango, and I'm walking out with like a bushel of corn, 25 apples, 8 tomatoes, 3 avocados. 10 bushels of strawberries. What am I going to do with all this? How did she do this to me? Hondo. She Hondo.
She Hondoed you.
She Hondoed me. So, yeah, that's what else you got?
Well, and just the other thing I was kind of interested in, the space circus. That the kids team up with.
Oh, yeah.
It just sort of a little nod, a little wink to the old Barnum Bailey circus.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the fact that like it just showed even in the middle of this war that sort of all encompasses the story of the show. There's people trying to make a living. There's people that around, and I just love the fact that like the kids were smart enough. We talk about scenarios like would a character do this, would a character go. I think these Jedi younglings. It was interesting that they immediately took their natural abilities that they've been taught and said, "That's our end. That's our that was our Ocean's 11 heist in to break Ahsoka out of Hondo's base."
And they handled it.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't cry, they didn't get scared, they didn't whimper and cower. They were
the top of their class. These kids are the top gun of the youngling class.
They went for it. And the guy that was running the circus, Sherry pointed out, he was very reminiscent of the door guard at the Emerald City in the original Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
He even had like the big mustache, and he had that's a very similar voice.
I like the Gomorian with the clown makeup. That was a great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love it. And then we get to see Hondo's court again, which is always fun. Hondo's drinking with a couple of weekway gals. Just, he's just that guy. He's just that guy. And I just love him. All right. So there was a lot going on, and this was obviously learning episodes. These were learning and growth episodes for these children. I don't know if we see any of them ever again. However, there is a tie-in later on, and it's one of my honorable mention ships that we'll talk about. Krash, I don't remember, but do you know if we see any of these kids later on?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I don't remember.
I don't want to give away too much away. You'll see them around the Jedi Temple in the background. I think this is their one big story arc, but you'll see them in passing. You'll see Gunji, the Wookiee Jedi, later on.
Yeah, I do remember Gunji. Yes, that's true. That's right.
Spoiler, but
Radio Beach said that would be great if they did that at Galaxy's Edge. The circus would be cool there. That's a great idea.
Send that in. Get a free room.
Send that in. Yeah, get us a free trip. What's up, girl? Go ahead and do that thing. All right. So let's do top 5 favorite Star Wars ships. I don't have any media to go with this because I just thought about it today. So Krash, if you'd like to go first, Tony, do you have your top 5 ships ready to go?
I do have my list.
Look at you. Krash, take it away.
Okay. You don't have the stuff I sent you earlier before the show?
No, I didn't have time.
Okay, no worries.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just gonna run through my list here personally, so give me a second here.
But I can try to share my screen. I don't know if that'll make the show crash, but I don't know. I'll try it. See what happens. All right. What's your first one? Are you doing like in ascending order? So bottom of your top 5 up, or number 1, or no particular order?
Yeah, no, there's an order to this, but first off, I'm going to start with is the Mon Cal Cruiser Independence. The Home 1 is known by in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
As a kid who grew up playing, I majored in X-Wing, the PC game in college. That ship was your home base for every mission. So when after I got my tail shut off and jumped back to hyperspace, it was just home sweet home, Home 1. That ship brings back a lot of good memories for me. Number 4 is the Ghost. I know this is going to be a hot topic. The Ghost or the Falcon. I'm Team Ghost.
Okay.
Because Han and Chewie lived on the Falcon. We presume, but I think we'll see on Rebels that the Ghost was more than just their ship; that was their home, especially for Hera and just the family mindset of the Ghost crew.
Right.
Really made me fall in love with this ship as a place where these people live, and not just where they use to travel.
And it's got a lot of personality, and it does a lot of cool stuff. It does. We see it we get to see it in live action as well.
Yeah, and it's great that they converted it over to live action. I could do a 3D map tour. I want to see the Phantom. You do on Ahsoka. We see the Phantom by itself. We see the Ghost.
Yeah.
And it's just I want to see the turret on the top of the ship work. Yeah, everything that you see in the. I don't want to get too much into Rebels, but
we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
And I'm not all light side. My number 3, the TIE Defender.
Oh yes,
that Grand Admiral Thrawn's baby is a badass little mother. You know what?
Yeah, she's a beast.
And it was in the TIE Fighter PC game in the late 90s too. That's when it was first introduced. It had shields, it had hyperdrive, it had missile launchers. You could just tear stuff up in that puppy. It was on par speed wise with anything the Rebels had. Number 2 is
I'm trying to get pictures, and you're just going too fast.
Okay.
I'm trying to get pictures. Hold on. I don't know if any of this is going to work. So let me do a share screen and see if that'll.
Okay.
And I'm sure our listeners are loving this.
Yeah. Watching us all clickety click. But we're trying new stuff, so you gotta give us some time.
Right. I just want to make sure that I've got the right one. I don't want to share something inappropriate that I might have.
There you go.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. TIE Defender. This bad boy. Thrawn was right. It's got shields. It's got hyperdrive. It's got everything that the Rebel Alliance uses to their advantage. And it would have, if they'd have mass produced this instead of like some of the standard TIE fighters or a TIE Interceptor, it could have changed the war.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, that thing is a beast.
Yeah. And it was just so much fun to play in. It's got at least, I think, 6 cannons or something like that. Missile launchers. And it's just, it was just a terror on space. So now here comes the fun part. I'm gonna call this my number 2, even though I love it dearly. The new X-wings, the T-70s.
Oh, okay.
See if you get a chance to pull one up. I think, but again, I'm like every kid. I grew up loving Rebel pilots and the classic X-wing. I still got the Hasbro ones and the Kenner ones from my childhood. But when Force Awakens came and those new X-wings came screaming across the lake, it was like, okay, that was then, this is now, this is the upgrade. And it's just a badass little starfighter. It was the King during the rebellion with the X-wing, and the King is returned in the T-70. And it's just a sweet little fighter. But my number 1, and I think we know where this is going, it's my home away from home, the Y-Wing.
Yeah.
A Clone Wars classic, reinvented for the rebellion, stripped down to compete with more modern fighters. This would be like a souping up a an old Mustang from World War II with jet engines. It was built as a bomber. It was built to take out ships and not dogfight. But if you strip it down for speed, it could be a fighter to fighter kind of starship, just with the X-wings. Yep, there's my girl. Mm-hmm. They take a beating. I think they're a little more durable than the X-wings are in combat, and it's just a great ship. I love her.
Yeah, and it's cool because we do get to see the Y-wings with their clothes on, I guess, you could say, in the Clone Wars.
Shadow Malevolence, the first time you see one. Yeah.
Yeah, there they go.
I was really big when we were designing squadron patches for our Rebel Legion base. We were Shadow Squadron, and I was really big on the fact I said, guys, there was an X-wing Shadow Squadron and a Y-wing Shadow Squadron. I wanted to make sure we had one of each included, because a lot of the Rebel pilot cosplayers it's all about the X-wing. Everybody's an X-wing. I said, no. You got to have the wishbones. You got to have the bombers in there too. So I'm a big fan of both ships, but at the end of the day, I think that the Y-wings don't get as much love as the X-wings, so that's why it's my number one.
No, that's fair. That's fair. You're right. It doesn't get. It doesn't necessarily get the love that it deserves, because it's a workhorse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that Y-wing is definitely a workhorse. And then we had Mr. Deacon talking about Luthen's ship. Luthen Rail's the Fondor Hallcraft from Andor season 1. And yeah, that ship is kind of a beast. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you know what? And Mr. Deacon's going to get at me for this too. But I was so happy watching Andor because no lightsabers. Mm-hmm. No lightsabers at all. Until there was. Even on the damn ship, he's got the twin lightsaber blades coming out of the side of it. Like, come on, really? We can't do one show without a fucking lightsaber. Are you serious? But it was pretty cool. He did the little spinny trick with the lightsabers on it. The ship-mounted sabers.
I think there's some disagreement. They haven't clarified if that. I mean, it's not like a traditional lightsaber. I mean, I don't know if you can build a lightsaber that big, but just the idea that it's like it's an
energy blade of some sort.
Energy, but I was gonna say it's reminiscent of the movie Ben-Hur and the one chariot that had the blades on the wheel, where he'd take it. It's the idea of, okay, how would a medium-sized starship fight dirty? And I think that was just like the countermeasures for the tractor beam and everything. You're not expecting a ship like that to compete. Yeah, there it is. I don't know if they could sustain that for a long period of time, but I think it's just sort of like I said, the blades on the wheel of your chariot, where you get a quick hit, you let the ship go by you, and then you can take it out that way instead of trying to track it with a laser.
Right. No, they just wanted to sneak in lightsabers. That's all it was.
They just wanted to sneak in lightsabers.
Well, they did a good job. Tony, what you got?
All right. So first things first, I have a dishonorable mention.
Oh, a dishonorable mention. All right.
Okay.
And that is going to be for the original TIE Fighter. I'm sorry. I just don't like the design. I think it's ridiculously impractical. Like, if you see these things like on the ground, how do you get the pilot in and out of there? Like, it's ridiculous. Not to mention, which when you're flying it, how big of a blind spot do you have with those wings and the placements that they're in?
All of the blind spots.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me.
It's all blind spot. It's nothing. Like, I know. I remember they did explain it that it was meant to be a supported craft. It was meant to be service. Like, so you needed a support craft in order to do anything. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if you crash somewhere, well, you're probably gonna be dead. No, not you. But if a TIE pilot lands that thing, then you got to jump down. It's it's not easy to get in and out of. But yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, in the old PC game, they were held in place with like a clamp.
Yeah, by
by
the arms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Mandalorian, and every time they've seen a different version of this, they always call it like a different variant. Moff Gideon's X-wing or TIE fighter, the wings folded in,
right,
and so that it could lay flat and land on landing struts. Whereas on Rebels, you'll see later on, they just flat up set the wings down like we used to do with our old Kenner TIE fighter. You just lay it on the table, man, and bring out a ladder.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, what else you got?
I imagine they got a lot of backlash from it because like all the other designs they fixed it. So I don't know, but that's okay. All right, so going into my actual top 5 here.
Okay.
The first one that I've got is the Aether Sprite Light Interceptor, also known as the Jedi Starfighter.
Oh, okay. Yes. Wait, which one?
We were talking about this beforehand.
The wedge or the one with the S foils on it?
The S foils.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah. I know Krash said that he liked the original wedge version first. He liked that. That's a terrible image. Let me see if I can find one that's not microscopic.
So anyways, while he's looking for that, why do you like this particular version?
To me, it's both of them are great. Don't get me wrong. I like the curve. It's something that you don't see on a lot of these ships. A lot of them are so angular, and it's just nice to see something like that. I appreciate it. But again, you could swap out for the other one, and it would barely be any different.
Well, it's sort of a very interesting evolution from the previous model to what we now know as a TIE fighter.
Yeah, because we've got you've got those S foils that come up and look very, TIE fighter-ish, and then even the cockpit, you've got that window design there.
Yeah, and like the S foils on this thing would really have solved the problem with Tony had with the TIE fighter, the basic TIE fighter. If the S foils, again, like Moff Gideon's, if they folded in, the ship profile flatter, it'd be easier to land.
I have Vader's. Hold on, you keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, the TIE Advance. That's another great example.
All right, so my next one, and you can call me basic. I don't care. It's got to be the Falcon. The Falcon's just great. I mean, it's a classic for all the right reasons. And
you saw it in that picture I shared earlier. It's just iconic Star Wars.
Like exactly. I didn't have my headphones on. What was it?
The Falcon.
We're talking about the Falcon.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it's almost a character in itself by the time we get to see it in Empire Strikes Back.
It absolutely is. It is the, like, if you say to anybody, name me a strip from Star Wars, that's the first thing that's going to come out of their mouth, and it's for damn good reason.
Yeah.
Not
wrong.
No,
there you go.
Moving on to number 3, the one that I have on my list that is a dark side ship are the Vulture droids.
Oh, okay.
I love those things. I love the fact that like they can actually walk around on the little legs. Like, it's just beautiful design. I just love it.
And you know what? You don't really hear people giving love to the Vulture droids. Like, I've never heard anyone in like a top 5 ship conversation say, yeah, Vulture droids, but you're right. They're versatile. They look kind of goofy when they're walking around, but man, when they come at you, you're about to have a bad day.
And they were a pain in the I remember again the season 1 episode where the droid battle where they were going to rescue R2. These things, when they're in their walking mode, are they're almost more lethal because the size difference between a clone trooper versus one of these guys.
Yeah.
It's just like the Umbara arc, where like the first tanks were small. The next group mechanic that come after them were a little bit bigger. This would have been like a middle range size mech that would have been a little more of a challenge for a couple clones by themselves.
Oh yeah, and if you're not on your game, you're going to get crushed.
I will say, just as a side for this, for the Star Wars Unlimited card game, they just released these in the newest set, the Vulture droids.
Really?
And the unique feature that they have, so most cards in the game, you're only allowed to have 3 copies of in your deck. This card specifically says you're allowed up to 15 of them, because that's the nature of them, is that they swarm you.
Yeah, and that name really holds true. They're like vultures. They circle the deck.
They come at you. What else you got, Tony?
Yeah.
Number 2 for me, and I agree with Krash on this one. As much as I love the Falcon, I prefer the Ghost. So the Ghost is on my list as well.
Now, for the same reasons, or what are your reasons?
Yeah, because again, the Falcon is iconic, but the Falcon is at the end of the day a ship, whereas the Ghost is a home, and I appreciate that, despite the fact that I haven't seen Rebels. I don't care.
And you said you haven't seen Rebels?
I have not.
Oh. Well, you're in for a treat. Like I've always loved the look of it. You know, it's got that classic YT Carillion vibe, but it's one of those ships. The reason that I like Krash said, it is a home. And as we start watching Rebels, we're going to start appreciating the fact that it is a home more and more and more. But like the look of it, like when you look at the nose, it looks like an old World War II bomber. It looks beat up and lived in and used, and that's what you want to see in Star Wars. You know, Star Wars is a lived in galaxy, and I mean, look at her. She's gorgeous.
It reminds me a lot of the Serenity from Firefly, especially in the front of it. That loading ramp gets is so useful in the story. Yeah, I was the Falcon was great, but even like you remember the original Kenner toy, the ramp would come down if you didn't lose pieces, parts, or just like right there. That is entering Hera's house. That is their home. That is their workplace. That is where they can they travel the galaxy in. And you look, you got the turret facing you right there, which was like Ezra's kind of hangout place. You got the cockpit right there, like you said, very World War II bomber vibe.
But look at the details on that.
Oh, yeah.
It's just such a gorgeous ship.
I remember when Dave rendered, they showed a live action render of it because it sneaks into Rogue One. You know, it's there. And the first time they showed the live CG version of this ship, everybody freaked out.
All right. And for me, my number 1, again, you can call me basic if you want. I don't care.
No.
Classic X-Wing.
There you go.
It's just
the old T-65, right?
Like for me, that is the quintessential. If I could have one ship, that's the one I want.
So what is it about the beautiful and like you said, the iconic X-Wing? What is it about it?
I mean, just the very first time that I saw it go from 2 to 4, where it split out, and just like, okay, so you just double, well, technically you didn't, but you doubled your firepower because now you could 4 different targets that you can come to at the same, like, it's just beautiful. It really is.
It's a hot rod. There's no doubt. It's a hot rod for sure.
Like, and we talked about it quite a lot when we did Skeleton Crew. When they're looking up when the X-Wings come in, like, that's me right there. That's the yes, this is what I want. This is like,
but and it's a beautiful ship. It gets the job done.
It's multi-purpose. It's a dogfighter. It's an attack run ship. You can do almost anything with it.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
It's a beautiful ship, and I love it because it does have hot rod vibes. It has hot rod vibes. I love it. All right, that's a good top 5. All right.
What about you?
Yeah, boss. What do you got?
All right, we'll do mine. We'll wrap up. All right. So my going from the bottom, it's going to be one of my favorite ships, Dash Rendar's YT 2400, the Outrider. But any YT 2400, there's been a few of them out there, but again, you've got those Carillion freighter vibes. You've got that offset cockpit, but it was like, I remember the toy for it. Like the cockpit would
the toy's a little messy in the cockpit. You didn't think it was
like, you had to pull it out. Yeah.
Whereas you think this is the configuration you would expect to ship it to be in, but toy makers always wanted to add a transformation, a gimmick, and it just, they should have just left it like this.
But I love it. Like I love this ship so much. I recreated it as best I could in the game Starfield. So if you haven't played Starfield, it has an incredibly robust shipbuilding mechanic, and I was able to get very, very close to the YT 2400 here. Yeah, great ship. All right, moving along. The Razor Crest.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. R.I.P. Razor Crest. I was heartbroken because I love this ship for the same reasons that we love the Falcon and the Ghost. This is Din Djarin's home. This is his world. I mean, everything. Yeah. It's got everything that he needs. He's got an evacuation unit. He's got a little sleeping pod. He has a whole freaking arsenal in his closet. You know, he's got an onboard mini carbonite chamber so he can freeze his bounties. It's just, everything about that ship was amazing. And apparently it's very easy to take apart and put back together again, because he did it multiple times, like overnight with a couple of different people. So apparently the Razor Crest is made of Legos, because it was completely stripped and then put back together overnight. So, I mean, what are you going to do? So yeah, the Razor Crest, absolutely love it. So next up is Goran Shard's Corsair. I think I don't think it has a name, and if it does, I wasn't able to find one. So Keeper of the Holocron, maybe you'd have better luck than I did. I don't know. I couldn't find it. It was just, all I could find was that it was a Cumulus class Corsair.
What do you like about it?
It's just, look at it. I mean, it's, again, to our listeners, I'm sorry. It just looks so mean. Like it screams pirate ship. I mean, it really does. It doesn't look like, it's bristling with weapons. It doesn't look like anything else. It doesn't look like it's a repurposed Imperial ship. It doesn't look like a repurposed, Republic ship. It's very much its own thing. And it looks like, and I like pirate stuff anyway, and it just looks like it can get shit done. Like,
I like that it's got the guns underneath for, like, again, it's a pirate ship. It's got plenty of firepower, but I also like the fact that it's also part aircraft carrier.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because think about it, like, pirate ships would go into a port and lay siege to a town, and when you're overhead, it makes sense to have all those cannons underneath. And we saw that in The Mandalorian. We saw the town, besieged by this giant pirate ship. And she's a thing of beauty. She's a thing of beauty. That's it.
She does not have an official name. She is just listed as, it's a Cumulus class Corsair, but it does not have an official name of its own.
Okay. Thank you, Keeper of the Holocron. I appreciate that. All right. So number 4, right? Number 4 is the VT-49 Decimator. It's an Imperial craft, and I love that stupid ship. I first encountered it playing Star Wars Galaxies. I'm not going to get into that because we're going to be here for another hour and a half if I start talking about Star Wars Galaxies, but that was my Imperial home away from home. You could staff it with 5 other players. 2, or is it 7? I think it was 7. So you had 2 cannons up and down. You had pilot, co-pilot up front. And then you had 3 spots that were engineering sections, because as you start taking damage, plasma conduits would rupture, and you would need people to run around the ship repairing the plasma conduits. It was a lot of fun to get into fights with that thing, whether you're doing PvP or PvE. When things really start, hitting the fan, and plasma starts rupturing, and your shields start going down, and you've got your friends running around the ship. It was a good time. And it's popped up. I think it's in the, it's in Star Wars X-Wing, the the miniature game. And it's a beautiful ship all the way around. And then finally, my number one favorite, I have a couple of honorable mentions, but my number one favorite ship, the Royal Guard TIE Interceptor. A thing of beauty.
Is that Von Regs? Say
again?
Is that Major Von Regs?
No. That's he has a completely different ship, but he has an interceptor, but it's not this. This was Sherry said that I think she was talking about the Corsair. Looks like it would be an alien ship from the movie Alien, yeah. Or a bird of prey. It definitely does have
it gives that vibe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. This I was first introduced to again in Star Wars Galaxies, and it's just like a souped up TIE interceptor that was used to escort the Emperor's ships. So, we don't get to see it on screen, but and if I may brag, I am let me go ahead and brag on this because why not? On my official 501st trading card in my TIE Pilot, I'm the only one well, I don't know about anymore, but at the time I was the only one that was authorized to have the red TIE Interceptor, the Royal Guard Interceptor, as my background image on my official card.
Nice.
So, now, you know what I can do. Okay.
Now, do you think they actually, like the Royal Guards, would they wear the standard black, or would they have like a red version of the TIE Pilot?
So they weren't. I don't think that it was flown by actual Royal Guards themselves. I think it was just really like hardcore elite TIE pilots who were flying it.
Okay. I'm just having this image of like the old Kenner action figure toy, like somebody stuffing their Royal Guard figure into a TIE
fighter, an interceptor. Yeah. No. It wasn't that. They were just like the elite. So think like, like 101st.
Yeah.
Or 181st. I'm sorry. The 181st.
Inferno Squad would be a good possible. Yeah. Like a variant where like it's the black uniform, but maybe with some red accents.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll share my my honorable mention, which does actually tie into the show. And let's see. Nope, it's not doing it. It won't share from there.
Okay.
Maybe I have to reshare. I don't know. There we go. There we go. That is the Katuni light freighter. That's Hondo's freighter. And he named it the Katuni.
Oh.
So how cool is that? And it's a good looking ship.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, admittedly, it's cool, but it's not as awesome as the flying saucers. The Corona class flying saucers that Hondo uses, those are just badass. Because they're so obnoxious. Of course, Hondo is going to be flying around in a freaking flying saucer. Of course. How could he not?
And for as much as Star Wars likes to draw on retro sci-fi, it was just such a great callback to like, hey, look, an actual flying saucer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there you go. Those are our top 5 ships. We should do top 5s more often, but maybe have more prep time because
live and learn.
Live and learn. So we'll do another top 5. Let us know what you think our next top 5 should be. I know, listicles are kind of they're easy content, but it's fun because everyone has their different versions of their their favorites or their least favorites. So maybe we should do droids next, or fight scenes, or battles, whatever you think. So let us know in the comments, and we will try to accommodate.
Hey, Tony, you may have noticed swag. Where did I get this lovely shirt?
Well, speaking of swag, so funny that you mentioned that. It's time to do our pimping, right? So before we head out, we're going to do some obligatory pimpage on our gear. Check us out on all social media at the SWS Show, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast and our YouTube channel. And if you'd like some of this fancy merch that we're wearing, Tony's in his work gear, so he can't put it on. But That's okay. So head on over to our website, circleofnerds.com/merch. And you can get some of this sweet, sweet swag and find out what we're watching for the rest of our season, which brings us up to your homework. So homework for next week, Star Warriors. We want you to watch season 5, episode 10, 11, 12, and 13. It's a droid arc, but a droid arc with a bit of a surprise. So I was pleasantly surprised by this. This is a good story arc. You think, droids, it's gonna be cute and for kids. It's good stuff. It deals with some very mature themes as well. So it's a very, very good arc. Do you guys have anything on the way out?
Well, just a quick thing. My best friend growing up, his dad passed away this week. I just want to give a shout out to the Hess family. We're thinking of you guys. So,
all right,
absolutely.
All right, yep. Shout out to the Hess family. All right, yeah. All right, so that's gonna do it for us. So thank you so much for joining us as you do every week. We do appreciate you. You could be spending your time anywhere else, but you choose to spend it with us. And of course, as always, a very, very special tip of the hat to all of our active duty service members and veterans around the globe who make so many sacrifices to ensure our freedom and our democracy, our level of democracy that we have anyway. But yes, so thank you for your service and your sacrifice. You will always be appreciated here on our show. And that's going to do it for us. And if nobody has anything else, you guys are all good?
No,
good.
That's it. All right. All right. So I guess that's going to do it for us. I feel like I've never done this before, but I have. I've done this so many times. But I don't know. All right. So check us out next week. Do your homework. And as always, remember, if nobody does anything nice for you, do something nice to yourself. And we will see you all next week. Bye. No, I'm not going to push the button. Just going to.
You push the button.
Mm-hmm.